Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Conversations with Experts. Today, I have LaTonya, who is the founder of Sweet Start Ministries, Inc., a leader in her community, and she is also passionate about love in action. Today, we're going to be talking about the power of prayer. So, hello, LaTonya. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So lovely to have you here. It's so good to be talking about the power of prayer, because I think that we are moving into a space now where we kind of need to give our faith and our trust to something, maybe that we have that kind of trust. I think everyone needs that thing, that something that they can rely on and believe in. This as well as I do. How many of us pray and we're expecting a particular result? What would you say to that, actually? Because so many people do it. They will go, okay, I've started understanding about the power of prayer. I want to move into it. And we keep asking for things, but we want it in a particular way. So what would you say to that? That kind of, that particularizing and saying, but I want it this way. I don't want it that way.
And so the first thing that makes me think about is a little kid who wants something, right? And they want it this way. And they want it, they have their whole way, because in their mind, that is the perfect way for them. And as a parent, we are like, but you don't know that if I give that to you, then this is going to be the outcome, which is not going to be good for you. Right. And so it is the same thing to me with the Creator. We have to put down how we want it to turn out and ask Him, what way, how should we do this? How should this be done? Because we have to remember, He's the Creator. And for me, in my mind, if we're going to talk about genderization, I see Him for myself as He. Okay. For me, it is that way. It is, you have wrote the book. Like, He wrote the book of your life. And so He already has the answer and know the path that you should go. And so when we're like, I want it my way, and He already knows the best way, then the outcome doesn't come out the way we want it to, because we weren't open to the way He wanted it to go. We weren't open to the Creator's way. We were wanting it our way. And so it seems disappointing when it's not our way, and when the outcome is not our outcome that we thought about. And if you think about it, that's kind of selfish and self-centered, right? Because it's like, it's me and it's what I want. Imagine somebody coming to you and going, yeah, I want this and I want that, and you're going to do it this way and that way, and you're the boss, right? So if you're the boss, you're not going to let an employee come to you and tell you how it's going to be. You're going to be like, no, it's going to be this way. You're not going to let a kid come to you, your child come to you and tell you, dictate to you how you want this to go, how they want it to go, because you're just going to look at them and laugh and be like, oh my gosh, you really just don't even know,
Well, it's kind of, it's what you said, isn't it? It's about the protection, because I see him as a he as well, but so it's he wants to protect you. It's the protection the system, right? But it's that thing. I don't know if you've ever read any. I think she's called Katie Byron. Her book, I think she's got a book on, and it's the process she does. But she says that there's these three aspects. There's your business, my business, and God's business. And she said, often a lot of us are in God's business and your business. We're very, very rarely in like our own business. And it's that's kind of what that you were sort of alluding to there. It's this thing where we've forgotten that there's only this much we do this much. We have free will, we do have choices, but it comes from this fusing and playing with the whole of the system, which is what I want to call a source right now, that whole system. And it's working with that system. And it's interesting when you were saying about the child thing, it's that thing, isn't it, where sometimes something has to move and something has to change in the world at large for you to even have that thing. I mean, think about it. Once upon a time, women weren't working. Something had to move and change for women to work. Other things, like other laws where we weren't allowed to do certain things, and things changed. The time had to grow, but evolution had to happen. And then that brings us all the way back to patience, doesn't it? And being patient with that word, being patient with our word, and also
Mhm.
patient with God's business and God's words, and not ever going into anyone else's business, because it's not, it's only God's business or their business. And it is, I loved that when I read it. I just read something of hers online and I thought, that's a beautiful way of putting it, because then you really know, once you know which business is which business and you can find that, then you recognize when you're really being in your center and being in your self energy. So, okay, then. So let's imagine then that we are all wanting to move into a practice of prayer. What would you say would be a good way to create a practice of prayer? And this is not just about giving yourself that 60 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever, 10 minutes a day. This is about making it a living, breathing system of your life. How would, because people like, it's a strange one, but I get it a lot in my coaching and stuff, with people like having an actual process to how they can really feel this energy. What would you say? Where would you find that? And it doesn't have to be like doing anything. It could be, what, where would you go? Who would you speak to? That kind of thing. What could move you into that power without it, and giving you that process of knowing that you are in that energy, you are in that conversation.
So I know that this is going to be a very unconventional answer, but books. You can get more information and hear the thoughts of more people in a book than you can by trying to go and find a person to talk to, right? Books are very guiding for me. Whenever I need to know something, I mean, honestly, Google is like so vast, right? Like all the information and all the books and everything are out there. And so if you wanted to start and you're like, okay, I really do want to dive into this and I want to start a practice, I would get a book. Like, what do you want to know? I mean, the best thing about this is being inquisitive and finding out, what do you want to know? You know, and then getting a book and maybe reading that book. Okay. Being intentional about reading it, because there's going to be, knowledge in this book that you may not have the time to gain from a pastor or a bishop or whoever it is that is that's leading. You may not have the time. They may not have the time, and you still feel like your questions aren't answered. You get this book. There's a 365 prayer journal book,
Yeah, cool.
right? And it has just like 2 paragraphs on it. And you read that, and then that's your meditation for the day. And then they have day 2. And then you read that, and that's your meditation for the day. And you can write notes or whatever, but it's actually giving you a little bit and helping you build a practice of going to this book. They even have apps. Okay, I'm going to go to this app. Today is my day 1. I'm going to read my day 1, and that's going to be my meditation for the day. Okay, I'm going to read day 2, and that's going to be my meditation for the day. And you start moving, but it is intentionality. I'm really going to say that you've got to be intentional about wanting to have this practice, because you set, what is it, 30 days? It takes you 30 days to set a habit. And if you want to get into the habit of, or I think practice is a lot better, is you want to get into the practice of incorporating prayer into your life, you've got to be intentional, and then you've got to seek the material that you need. I'm going to suggest a book. And then while you're reading that book, you can find somebody at a church or a mosque or whatever that is understanding what it is that you want and give you the answers or help you. We're really supposed to be helping people navigate through what they're seeking. And so, I mean, I think that's probably going to be the best thing, right? Like,
I do like
just
that.
Yeah, just every day be intentional about reading this 365-day book that has your days written out, because some people actually need structure, right? Because it feels,
That's
prayer
it.
seems like it's,
Yeah.
oh, so overwhelming, it's not
Mm.
structured, I don't know. This
Yeah,
is
that's what I
more,
meant. Yeah, structure. I couldn't think of the word
yeah,
at the time. Yeah, structure.
it helps you to structure your day, because in that way you can just, you've got that, you've done your 5 minutes of meditation, and you started your day.
It's
That's attainable, right? You're
beautiful.
setting these attainable goals to work this into your life. It doesn't mean that you have to have it all together all at, at the same time. It's just putting
Yeah.
one foot in front of the other and being intentional about working that into your day.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know what I'm like. I love books and I read and I read and I read everything. And I've got paper everywhere and I'm making notes about everything. And I have notebooks for everything. And then I can't find which notebooks where. But hey, I get that. I get that idea of stepping into words, because I think words have phenomenal power to help us step into process. So that I do think that's really good to do. I do have a couple of other ideas of my own, which are like things like, if you're more of the sort of not earthbound, sort of earthy spirit that likes nature and likes walks, it's a really good way to bring your prayer into those moments, bring yourself into those moments, even water. It's about doing what works for you. And I would actually say, and it's just a thought really, and it's coming to me now, so I'm going to say it, it would be to ask yourself what works for you. Because you know what, I might have one way. So for me and LaTonya, the same actually. I would go for a book. I'd go for pen and paper. I'm like writing, or talking. So it's one of those. But if your way is different, what if you're an artist and you like to paint? Maybe you could engage with the spirit, with the whole of the universe while you're doing that. And I think there's so much to be had, because I think we're so we're multifaceted, we have so many different methods in this world. We're also different, we're so nuanced. Yeah, go for where you feel it. But I'm with you on LaTonya on this. Practice, have a disciplined practice that you do every single, make it non-negotiable, make it your thing. You make sure you brush your teeth in the morning, make sure you do this. And I like the 5 minutes for a starter, and if that is too much, like I say, go smaller, but always find something that you can do consistently. And even whether this is something like LaTonya was saying about getting to that space where it becomes a habit, but it's also being disciplined to want that habit, being really, like you said, intentional to step into that habit. Because I think often, and I can be a bit like this, where I'm like, well, actually, I don't want to do this now, and I forget it, and so I don't do it. So I think, yeah, it's about being really strong in that. What would you say to those people though who are now going to say, oh, but I like to dip in and out and I really don't want to have a practice? I just want to dip out in and out and I want to do it whenever I feel like? What would you say to that?
Then I would say that you don't build relationships that way. You don't dip in and out of your friend's life because they're going to be wondering what happened to you. Where are you? Right? So if you are not intentional and focused, then you're not going to get the results. I mean, you can't possibly expect to get the answer immediately because you're not being consistent. So you can't possibly expect somebody else to be consistent. You can't expect the creator of the world to be consistent if you're not consistent, because he created us in his image. And therefore, we have the same ability to think and to feel, which means he thinks and he feels. And so, I mean, how would you feel if somebody was to dip in and out of your life? That, I mean, honestly, like every time I think about a relationship with the creator, I think about my relationship with other people. How would I feel if somebody was like, yeah, I'm going to call you today, but I don't really feel like calling you tomorrow? Because that's going to be like, well, that tells a lot about the way you feel about me, right? So I'm not important to you I'm not important enough for you to want to develop a relationship with me, because it's all about choices, right? Either you want to develop a relationship with someone or you don't. Either you want to be intentional about something or you don't. And you can choose that, which is totally your, your right. But then you can't expect to build a relationship as fast as you want to without doing it. That's what I
Yeah.
would say.
I love that. I love that last point you made where you can't expect to build the relationship quickly if you don't put that in, you don't create that process. And it's so true. And, what I've got from this, it's been so lovely. What I've got from this whole thing is the power of prayer. It's about you building a relationship with this amazing, great system, with the source, with God, with the universe. And I also think ultimately with yourself. I think ultimately you're also developing a relationship with yourself, because imagine you can get yourself, like you were saying, with regard to the whole being disciplined, putting in the effort, having a relationship with yourself and the source, so you're all at one together and you can link together. And I think that's more powerful than anything, because once you're in relationship, it's kind of an interesting thing actually, because my tutor, my yoga tutor, the yoga master, used to say this. He used to say all of life is a relationship. He used to find it strange because many people would come to him and say, well, what about my relationship? Meaning their intimate relationship. And he would always say, we are always in relationship with everything and everyone, no matter what we're doing. And I kind of felt that in that end energy of kind of what you just said, in that sort of, if you don't commit, it's like the yoga practice. If I don't commit to yoga, I'm not really a yoga master or a yoga teacher, am I? If I don't commit to my job, if I don't go in the days I'm supposed to, then I'm not really committing to that relationship or my responsibilities. Yeah, I do. I really do like that. So we're coming to the end, and I just want to ask you one of my sort of final questions, and then we're going to the fun stuff. So have you got any words of wisdom or solace, or it could be anything. It doesn't even have to be necessarily about the power of prayer. It can be about anything you want. You feel that our viewers, you can give to our viewers so they can take that with them, like this kind of intentional statement maybe, or a bit of words of wisdom or something you could give to them for today.
I would say that if you love yourself, and that's a question to ask, do I love me? If you love yourself, then you would know that you'd owe it to yourself to build a relationship with the creator of the world. Because why not? You have to love you in order to do things that are best for you, and in order to connect with people that have the same vision and thought and feeling as you about you. And more than anything in this world, I believe, and I know that some people will have their difference of opinion, but I believe that the creator of the world loves us so much. He loves us more than we do. And so think about and ask yourself, do you love you? That's a question that is so powerful, and it's so important that you answer that and analyze. And when you come up with the answer, then you move from that space and doing things that are best for you. And if your answer is, well, I don't know, or maybe I don't, then that is something that you need to know, that you are valuable enough, that you are loved enough, that you are, you're worthy enough to put value back on yourself and to love you despite of anything that's gone on in your life. And then connect with the creator who gave you life and who loves you more than you.
That was beautiful. I love it. And honestly, guys, I do not set my guests up to start talking about self-love. Okay, it's not me. I didn't do that. That all came from LaTonya, not me. Because I think sometimes people probably watch these and go, oh, him's just telling everyone to make sure they end it with her stuff. But no, I didn't say anything. Because I'm just starting to see that it's happening a lot. And I think I better like say this. Thank you so much. That was lovely. I'm going to go now to the fun questions. I always ask my guests at the end of our interviews fun questions and recommendations and things. So I would like to know, LaTonya, if you can recommend a favorite book, fiction and non-fiction.
No fiction come to mind right now.
Okay.
Nonfiction is Audacious Prayers.
Oh, lovely.
Prayers.
Audacious prayers.
Audacious prayers. And it's praying bold prayers to get enormous answers.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
And it tells you it's the process. Like he actually goes through the process, his process, and he's talking about his life. And that's the book I'm reading right now is Audacious Prayers, because it's funny that we were having this conversation, but just maybe like a couple of days ago, a week ago, I started thinking, I think that I pray like little simple prayers. Like I pray safe prayers. And I don't really want to pray safe prayers. I want to see movement happen. And you spoke about movement earlier, and movement happens when people start to move, make audacious and bold efforts to see the world changed. And he talks about doing that in prayer.
Wow, that is powerful. I love that. See, you heard it here. That sounds amazing. I'm gonna go look for it. But yeah, that sounds really good. And also, could you give me, I don't know what you like for TV. You may not watch much TV, so if you don't have to answer this question. But have you got a favorite film or show or something that you watch quite regularly?
So I don't really watch TV regularly. As a matter of fact, I don't really watch TV a lot. I have to actually make myself go and watch a show. But I am a huge Marvel hero. I'm a huge Marvel fan.
Me too.
I love Marvel, and one of my favorite is Captain America, Winter Soldier.
No way. Me too. If you watch my video, I say it's my favorite. I say it's Captain America.
Yes, he is my absolute favorite, because in that particular movie, Winter Soldier, there is a love that is displayed so ferociously, right? That it is beautiful. It is beautiful. And it is, when Bucky, his friend from his childhood friend, he was the Winter Soldier, of course. And Captain America refused to just fight back on him as if he was write him off as a stranger. He just kept saying, I'm going to be with you till the end of the line. I'm going to be with you to the end of the line. And I know he's going to remember me. Like, he had this ferocious love and hope and even faith, really, that Bucky was going to remember him. And of course, at the end of the movie, right, they are both in the water. Captain America goes first. Bucky dives in, even after this huge fallout fight, and drags him out of the water, basically saving his life, because after all that fight, he did remember. Even though they tried to recondition his brain to forget, the love, that is the power of love, is it does not forget the love of another person. I don't care how much conditioning or reconditioning you get. That is how powerful love is.
That's wonderful. I love that. I thought it was so funny that we both picked the same thing, because I remember asking myself the question and then thinking, I love Marvel movies. And I was thinking, oh, now you're going to know I'm really sad. I was like, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Okay, what is your favorite food? What's your go-to then? What would you go to? What's your go-to food choice? If you...
I love Indian cuisine. Love Indian cuisine.
I'm learning stuff about you here. This is interesting.
I love Indian cuisine. And then probably the second would be Italian. and Mediterranean. Those are my three that I love.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because that's how I answered the question. I didn't say an actual food. I said, because my favorite's Mexican because I like spicy stuff. And so I go towards Mexican. I've got a bit of an obsession with tortillas. Don't even ask. I don't know what that's about, but I do. I love tortillas. Like, you could do so many things with them. They're so versatile.
Yeah, they are. But I love the flavors. I love the earthy flavors of Indian cuisine. I love just the smell and how they just, oh my gosh, just flow through the house. Seriously, I do. I really do.
You're going to make everyone hungry. Okay, and what would your favorite holiday style be? What would your favorite holiday? What would the best break for you be?
Winter, Christmas, yeah, like that time of year. It's like when autumn is turning into winter, and everybody's beautifying places with all the Christmas decor and everything. As far as my vacationing spot, I would probably go to Alaska because I love the cold, and so I want to do an Alaskan cruise.
Oh, interesting. I think that would be amazing. I'm just not much of a cold person.
Yeah, I cannot do the heat. I'm not a heat person. Somebody was like, "Oh my gosh, you want to go to the beach?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not that beach girl. I'm not her. I'm more of the boots, the winter, the fire, the bonfires." And yeah, I love the winter. And so Alaska would be my vacationing spot during Christmas.
Yeah, you're crazy, because I would just like the beating heat, hot as it can be. I'm not a beach person, but I love it when it's really hot and everyone's sweating, and I just love it because I'm not sweating, because I don't think to sweat very much, and I just love it, and everyone's looking at me going, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I love it. I love the hot. And then I'm born in a country that isn't hot all the time. I need heat. I want heat all the time. But yeah, that's lovely. Anyway, my darling, thank you so much. That was so lovely. It was an absolute pleasure. If my viewers want to find you, where would they find you? Your hooks, your handles?
Find me at Sweet Start Ministries. They can also find me on Instagram under Sweet Start Ministries. Yeah.
That's lovely. And everybody, you know where to find me. Thank you so much for watching. If you're looking for me, you can find me at www.selfloveselfcaresystem.com. It's been an absolute pleasure to do this for you. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope this starts your journey on the power of prayer. Thank you so much, LaTonya. It's been
Thank you
lovely.
for having me.
You are welcome. Namaste, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye, and I will see you soon. Mwah. Kisses, love. Bye-bye. Want to say bye?
Bye.